On October the 1st, 1960, Nigeria came into being as an independent country. It started its journey adopting a legislative system like the British Westminster Parliament. Under this system, the Prime Minister, as the leader of the party with majority seats in the Parliament, was the substantive head of government at the federal level, while the President was a mere ceremonial head. This journey was brought to a sharp halt by a military coup in 1966, leading to about 13 years of military rule, during which the Independence Constitution was set aside, making the Parliament of no relevance, and legislations were by decrees. In 1978, another constitution was introduced, which moved Nigeria away from the Westminster parliamentary model to a presidential system, with a clear separation of powers between the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. But the military would return in 1983 and stayed till 1999, when a democratically elected civilian government was installed and the legislature returned after a long absence.
In the history of Nigeria, we are celebrating 58 years of independence. Therefore, about 30 of those years, the country was ruled by the military. And throughout those periods, the parliament was completely absent.
However, the National Assembly in the early days of the Fourth Republic was involved in a series of scandals, leadership crises, and allegations of corruption.
In the first 8 years of the Fourth Republic, the legislature at the federal level had a very difficult problem because the then President Olusegun Obasanjo thought he had a right to determine the leadership of the National Assembly, as well as to direct them on how to do their work.
Section 88, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution states the power of the National Assembly. There are diverse views on how well the federal legislature has performed its role over the years.
There has been progress in many areas. They have made some laws that has advanced democracy in the country. Let's take, for instance, the Freedom of Information Act, which now makes it possible legally for any citizen to access information. Look at the Public Procurement Act, the Fiscal Responsibility Act, the NIETI Act, which are all responses to deal with issues of corruption in the country.
The legislature should have been the stabilizing force of our democratic experiment. The stabilizing force in the sense like that if the executive mismanage money, the legislature is not bound to follow them. They should have used the power of checks and balances and oversight to call the executive to order. And if they themselves are not stealing, it will be very easy to be able to say, censure the executive and say, you must return this money which you have stolen. No, don't do it this way. This is the way to go. But the executive and the legislature began to compete in terms of who will steal more, who will outmaneuver more.
Over the past 8 years, we've seen the opposite trend of the legislature increasingly encroaching on the power of the executive. They've done so through control of the budget process.
The oversight function, they've not done well. Look at what they're doing with constituency projects and votes. You see, like we just finished a research on primary health care. You see tens and hundreds of primary health care institutions being built, they've completed them, taken over by WITs in different communities in Nigeria because there was no community consultation. If you are a representative of your constituency and community, how come you said this is the priority of your community? And when you finish, it's taken over by WITs. If that was the priority of your community, as we are completing it, the community is taking it over, even if government is not coming.
More than ever before, it is extremely important that Nigerians elect competent people to represent them in the National Assembly, as the fate of the country's economic, social, and political development largely depends on the legislature.